How are you guys? Welcome back to Wargaming China. Well, I haven't been making too many videos lately because it's very hot down here in Australia, and January was just too hot to get in my shed. Or last one, sorry, was just too hot to get in my shed. Today's a scorcher too, so I just thought, well, what can I show you today? And I thought, okay, it's a good day to go back to talk about the hybrids. Now, so far when I talk about hybrids used during the War of Resistance, I've discussed the Siderius, the IG-18, the Bowlers 47mm, and today we're going to move on to the Bofors contribution to the hybrids. Now, just a quick recap. As I said, in 1929, stock market crash, Wall Street crash, but also the emergence of tank warfare and budgetary restraints, all combined for the necessity for anti-tank guns, infantry guns, and mortars. That the debate was on about that, and obviously at the end of the day, because of the few hybrids that were put into service, it's obvious that hybrids were not a success. However, doesn't mean that China didn't use them, and if I didn't discuss these obscure guns on this channel and the use in the War of Resistance, who would? Because, as you know, this channel is about the War of Resistance from 1931 to 1945 in China. So when we think of the name Bofors in World War II or that era, we automatically think of the 40mm Bofors anti-aircraft gun. And of course, the Bofors was a classic weapon and was used just about by everybody who lay their hands on them up to 1945. And yes, as I discussed in a previous video, China had received some through Russia. However, Bofors has been around since 1643, and it was a company that was officially a royal company, and then over the decades it's changed hands many times. Alfred Noble owned it from 1892 to 1894, and he's the guy that would have really modernized Bofors and started to look at propellants, as the inventor of dynamite, explosives whiz. About 10 years later, Bofors split into two companies, one that produced just the chemicals and one that produced ordnance. And around about, I think it's they built their first gun in 1884. That was their first official cannon workshop, and they've been in the arms industry ever since. And of course now they're owned by another company. I won't go into the modern history. So when we look at World War II and we think of Bofors, as I said, we mainly think of the 40mm anti-aircraft gun. But Bofors also produced a 75mm light howitzer and a mountain gun, and this was in use with many armies in World War II, including the Chinese. And when it came to hybrids, it seems that Bofors had a couple of options there. One type that they sold was the 75mm / 47mm anti-aircraft infantry gun, and Thailand bought these, but she was the only country that I think she designated them Type 77, and I think they received about 30. Although some sources say it might have been 40. So both of us actually did have a catalogue of hybrids, and it seems that this hybrid that we're going to talk about today, the Bofors 37mm 81mm, is it seems that China approached Bofors, and indeed it looked like Bofors were going to. They set up a whole production line for this gun, and it seemed that this was a really promising weapon in 1932 when China approached Bofors. They did it quickly because they were already on the drawing boards for making a 37mm gun, and the 81mm mortar was a pretty standard weapon by then. However, Bofors really went to town on the design. Now, if we look at the Bofors 37mm anti-tank gun, again in common service during World War II, we'll note that it was in service from 1935 and was in production from 1934. So, and if we look at the shell weight and the design of the gun shield, we can see a lot of similarities with the Bofors 37mm gun and the Bofors 75mm mountain gun. And I'll just, for example, the 37mm Bofors anti-tank gun weighed 350 kilos, whereas the 81/37mm weighed 450 kilos. And you might think, well, I think Bofors use a lot of the production of this gun in order to iron out the kinks in its 37mm design. This gun didn't fire the same ammunition. I'll tell you about this gun. So China approached, by 1933 these guns had arrived in China. Now China only received 12 of them. And I have never found where they served. Never. But they did arrive with ammunition, and they don't even appear in training schools. So they were issued to somebody, but it's lost. It's lost to my knowledge who it was. I mean, I don't have the knowledge. I've read and I've surmised and I've conjecturized, but no, I've got nothing definite for where these guns actually served. But I'll tell you about the guns. So they weighed 450 kilos. They could be transported, broke down, and transported by 6 mules. And if you wanted to break it down more, you could break it down into 12 loads and men that could be man-packed over short distances. Now, if we look at the 37mm barrel of the weapon, it fires. The barrel's got a caliber length of 45 and a muzzle velocity of 800 meters a second. The projectile weight is 700 grams, and the max range is set at 7.1 kilometers. But that's because it would be firing at high elevation, which would not be available to the 37mm anti-tank gun. Now its traverse was plus minus 25 and its elevation was minus 8 to positive 80 degrees. And as I said, the entire gun weighed 450 kilos, and both weapons used the horizontal wedge breech, which is the Krupp design. Now, as far as the mortar goes, it is an interesting mortar because its barrel caliber is 20, so the length of it's 20 calibers, and its muzzle velocity is 320 meters a second, which you expect for a mortar. but the projectile weight's pretty heavy. It's 4.1 kilos or 4.4 kilos according to other sources, and it's got a range of 6 kilometers. And if you compare that to, say, American 3-inch mortar with a range of 3 kilometers, we have to wonder about the chemical wonders of the Bofors company. So, what did Bofors do to make this weapon? Well, I'm going to show you a picture here. Now, if we look, and the picture is from King James, it's available online, but it's from a book. It's from a website. We can see that the trails are being strengthened. We can see that the mounts of the gun, the 37 millimeters on the top, the 81 millimeters in the middle, and the recoil housing is beneath them all. Look at the mount on the angle of the yoke, and we see of the gun yoke, and we see that it's pretty much the same angle as the 37 millimeter anti-tank gun. This is a picture from the Bofors factory for the guns before they were shipped to China. So if we look at the shield, it's a little bit larger than the 37 millimeter anti-tank gun shield, but a little bit smaller than the 75 millimeter mountain gun shield, and it has a much longer travel allowance for the guns than these have allowed. Now, what did I make these from? I made these from First to Fight, which is and they were Polish 37 millimeter guns. Now, they were very accurate guns, but if you make this kit, you got to be careful because it's extremely delicate to get it off the sprue. The first gun I assembled, taking it off, I didn't, I did what I would usually do, and I broke 3 or 4 pieces. And the second gun, I only broke 1, even though I've been extremely careful. So and once you get it together, it's an easy build. Although, of course, I converted. So I gave the guns spoked wheels for horse traction, and underneath the second barrel, as you can see there. I hope you can see that. Yeah, the second barrel is from a oh gosh, what's the name of it? A pin. This is like a pin. I'm blanking out on what the name of it is. Yeah, it's just a pin. I could use a nail, dip the end off, whatever I wanted to use. I can't specifically remember the name of the thing I used, but yeah. The mules are from Italy and Airfix. The figures, because I have to fill this with a observer team, so that's converted Airfix, World War I French, and hat, Austrian support weapon figure. These figures are, I think they're all from the Ottoman support weapon set by Hat. So I decided to put them with Guangxi province, and the reason I decided to do that was because I had no idea where these guns served. And I've looked through the OBs and the army lists that are available, that you can find. That if they don't name the weapon, they certainly name the caliber in service with the army. And there's no guns of a slash 37 81mm slash that I could ever find. And then I thought, well, if I can't find it on the because this is where I'm conjecturizing, purely conjecturizing. Well, if I can't find it on any of the OBs of battle that I've looked, what are the OBs of battle that I haven't looked at? And by that I mean, like, what battles I've looked at and I've just failed to find a good OB. I mean, not for the Japanese, but for the Chinese. And it seemed to me that the army that it might have served with, because only because I know so little about that, like this army. I mean, as far as its OBs were concerned, is the Guangxi Provincial Army of the Guangxi clique. And it would make sense for these guns to go to the Guangxi clique because they don't have much money. Certainly, the idea of a hybrid would have appealed to them because of the money saved, and it was the only army that I thought feasible. Now, I hope somebody out there says, "Oh, Adam, you're wrong about that. They actually served with, I don't know. Tell me." But for now, I'll put them with the Guangxi Provincial Clique, the Guangxi Clique Army, the Guangxi Provincial Army, and play them as they are. The buildings, well, this one here is Scenic Effects, a company that sadly gone out of business years ago. And the other two buildings, you'd know them from the Airfix World War One French Battle of Waterloo French farmhouse set. So there you go. As I said, we'll get back to the shed and have a game when it cools down a bit, guys. But for now, it's too hot. I'll try to get something to do next weekend, hopefully. Press like and subscribe. Hey, I've got 404 subscribers now. Thank you very much, guys, because, like, I ramble, I know. Alright. See ya. Bye.